took down B-Die. So we'll be heading into watching them against Baboon Gang here on the quarterfinals here, excuse me. But looking at the roster of Baboon Gang, there should be some players you recognize, at least from our Paladins history. There's Fanatics, now changing his name to Gagoon. There is Welshmania. There is Exentra.
Okay.
And the member I don't have too much experience with is Squashy on their team. But obviously, if they trust him, expect him to be a strong player. But again, Notjoker, myPstory, Gotti, Canny, they made it to finals last week. We talked about how they're going to adapt. But Baboon Gang, they've been kind of grinding away with this core of a roster under a couple different names. I think have a shot here against the second place finishers of the previous time. But we'll see what maps they're going to be doing it on. We will take a look at the series layout at some point fairly soon as we slide in to look at this graphic. Factory demo going to be map number 1. Favelas King of the Hill map number 2. So happy to see that. I'm just so excited for King of the Hill after watching that last map. And Skyfell to close it out. Fun. How are you feeling about these three?
Well, I mean, we have seen Skyfell being a map 3 map so many times. And what I mean by that is, like, I've seen people go to game 3 on this map pretty consistently throughout the CMG tournament. It's been a very consistent map, a map that everybody enjoys to see as well. I'm glad to be seeing Favelas personally and seeing how players are going to be able to control Favelas with King of the Hill because of how broad that map can be. I'm excited, honestly, because that's going to take a lot more control to make sure that you can come out on top of King of the Hill as opposed to a map like Glacier. It's definitely a bigger one on the side of Favelas.
Yeah, crossing from hill to hill is going to be a lot more in the open, especially if it's from a high ground to a low ground hill, depending on how the rotation goes in particular. But we're starting on Factory. We're back to the old classic, back to that demolition. Factory, a map that wasn't in when I started working with the CMG tournaments, was put back in after some bugs and issues were fixed with it. I've been really loving watching this map. I think that we do see a lot of interesting rogues that aren't picked as much on demo. Therefore, I know we see the Vi quite a bit here for that extra health, for forcing people out from behind barricades. We see Glitch sometimes played in the highway area just to get intel on both sides of the map with the hack, whether, you can see if someone's flanking, a lot of info from that. You see Lancer. You would see Scorch if she was allowed. That is going to be something that we will not be privy to watching this week in particular. But I think that puts more importance on Vi, which might put her in the crosshairs for a ban.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, that's definitely one of those times where you'll end up seeing, with this map in particular, on Factory, you'll see a lot more lockdown sort of characters. I mean, Vi's definitely one of those characters where it's hard to quite push through. There's a lot of places, a lot of choke points that you have to try and utilize in order to actually make it to the bomb site, whether you're pushing on A side, whether you're pushing on A side, or whether you're pushing on B side.
Yeah, well, we're talking about what rogues will be helpful. We'll see what rogues won't be available. Bans now up for the two teams. I have it up here on the side, but I'll wait for the graphic just to sync it up with you guys. Anvil, banned by Hefty Cormorant, and Baboon Gang took out Fixer. So I still think it makes sense to ban him. Obviously, some corner pressure rogues, you'll still be able to get them yourself if you don't want them, but depending how comfortable you are on Fixer, you might want to just get rid of him anyway. But Anvil, of course, even after the MLX nerf, he is still a force to be reckoned with, stopping flashes if you want to get aggressive with your chalk, putting a lot of damage in with that LMG, just quite a bit of pressure and space control with that shield as well afterwards. So Anvil, just a great rogue. Makes sense to get rid of him, even if you might think someone else is more important here, because, hey, you can pick it up for yourself. But Fixer, I think, not surprising for me here as we hopefully soon head into Factory on Demophone.
Yeah. Anvil makes complete sense. I mean, we were just talking about the potential to be able to lock down a lot of these choke points, a lot of these lanes it is that you have to walk through in Factory is more linear in terms of ways that you can approach. There's different ways to approach it, but all of them are, for lack of a better term, they're all pretty linear. Like you can only come through a certain few angles to actually be able to make it to a bomb site. Once again, whether you're pushing on an A or B site, Anvil's one of those characters to where that is an effective and very quick lockdown. Something hard to be able to try and push through, especially if you guys are the attacker. So the Anvil ban makes complete sense to me. The Fixer as well. I mean, once again, we were talking about it beforehand, before we were even on the screen, was the fact that Fixer is really strong and somebody that we've seen consistently, and also in the ban column consistently, due to how much control and how much area it is that he can have with those smokes. That also helps with the lanes, with locking down a lot of those choke point areas as well.
Yeah, but making it riskier to rotate when you might have to make a long rotation on either side on this map, I think
Right.
makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Also, thermals in the sandstorm is pretty good too when that
Mhm.
weather rolls around and denies you a little bit of that vision here on factory map number 1 of the quarterfinals between Hefty Cormorant and Baboon Gang. Baboon Gang, I want to see them really show up here today. I do love some of their players, but we've seen Hefty Cormorant again in finals last week, not able to take down Cute Hamster, but here in week
Yeah.
2 for revenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as the time, like time and time again, this map is a map I like to watch because I like to see how people get unique consistently when they have to
Mhm.
play a lot of these lanes, when they have to play a lot of these choke points. And Factory personally for me is one of my favorite maps to watch because I love seeing the
It's
creativity
fun.
be brought out here. There's a lot of different places that you have to be careful where you're peeking. There's not a lot of room to be able to move if you're playing on the attacker side. So I'm glad to see
Mhm.
it here, and I'm not surprised to see the trench right now, or the trench
Yeah,
hover, I
makes
should
sense. I
say.
mean, APS is barbed wire, really valuable on this map, which
Right,
is why also one of the
right.
reasons why you see Glitch too. Speak of the devil, Glitch popped up right now, controlled by myStory.
Mm.
They might not even end up blocking this trench actually on the side of Hefty Cormorant, but they will,
They do.
locking that in for both sides. The only difference is going to be the glitch versus the Kestrel. I really
Yeah,
like the glitch on this map. This Kestrel, I think, piloted by Gagoon or by Fanatics, is going to have to show up, I think, really heavily to convince me of the value of it over the glitch. Obviously, Kestrel's great. Kestrel snowball potential, Kestrel corner pressure, all of
I agree.
that she can do. But I just really like what Glitch brings to the table on Factory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited to see a lot of these strategies really come to fruition here, and I
Mhm.
definitely think the glitch is the point of interest because of the fact that you're going to see them get countered a lot on pushes, especially since we mentioned it before. I believe there
Mhm.
might be a little bit of an issue here for a moment while
We'll see.
people sort of get that one checked out and settled up, if anything. I'm interested to see the glitch, and part of the reason why that being the case is because of the fact that you obviously have to make sure that you punish people that might be trying to utilize a lot of those tools and
Mhm.
ways to get onto site a lot easier. They have to push into you. We were talking about how it's sort of linear with that sort of mindset and with that game plan, and how people have to be a little bit more creative to sort of shake it up. And because of situations like that, glitch is a perfect way to stop any sort of creativity that you might have, at least for a few moments, because you won't quite be able to push in. You won't quite be able to use that Vi gadget. You won't quite be able to use Kestrel to try and clear corners. And that, I think, is the story here. The more it is that you see
Mhm.
of this glitch, the better of an opportunity a lot of these teams will have to be able to sort of manipulate the win to suit them.
Yeah, and it has to be the story because when you look at a team like Baboon Gang, we'll see how they can, of course, play into it. If they do keep their row composition the same and don't change anything up, that could be maybe what caused the remake. Obviously,
Mm.
hard to tell, but if they're feeling confident enough to push into it, are they feeling that way after their performance versus Hefty Cormorants? Do they feel like they're coming in here as underdogs because of how
Mm.
Hefty Cormorant were able to perform in the past? I think across the board for them versus the success that Baboon Gang have seen as kind of a core. I feel like I've seen Fanatics, aka Gagoon, and Welsh playing together,
Mm.
and Exentra too. I think recently, I want to say a part of that core as well. Kind of been a core, shifting some other players around, some coming in and out, but never really sticking with
Mm.
a full four that I recognized as this is the four players that I know as this set core of players. Are they
Right.
feeling like this could be a tough game for them? Are they going to be confident enough to go for some of those flanks and maybe mess with that glitch hack kind of radar status of it? Do they feel like they're coming in as underdogs, and will that maybe even put pressure
Mm.
on them to go for those even more often and mess with it? It's hard to say how they're going to handle the pressure, but some of these players have been to land before. They've succeeded
Yeah.
on land before in other games, and it could be enough pressure to make a diamond, depending.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, and obviously, like I said, like I was mentioning before, I mean, the glitch is sort of the point of interest, but it's also, I think, the crux of the team because I think it'll be very
Mhm.
easy to sort of mess up any sort of glitch play that you might have. I mean, obviously, what is there to mess up when you pretty much bring up the cell phone and then make sure that you can hack everybody that's already around, right? I mean, you're not going to be ordering pizzas with this one. You're just going to be trying to shut down the enemy team as a response.
You're like, oh my, only $5.99 for 3. Oh my,
Yeah.
I'm all in on it. No, they're gonna be watching that like a hawk, and not tabbing over to the other app to make absolutely sure that they can catch flanks people on the way, because long flanks can happen. They can punish you very hard on Factory if you aren't ready for them. No rogues that really thrive in that, though. We're not seeing a Lancer. We're not seeing that sort that can really take a very long rotation around. She is a pick we see sometimes here on Factory. We won't this time. We will see a trench, though. Both trenches linked to the Dahlia for that extra gadget gifted to her. And again, the same difference between both drafts of rogues here. It's the glitch on one side, it's the Kestrel on the other, and that difference will be the story of how this half goes here, Fawn, in round number 1 on Factory.
Yeah, and obviously everyone just now drops in. And once again, I was mentioning the glitch, so we'll have to see how they'll play. Know that, but even still, Hefty have to be a little bit more careful. They're even aggressive. Look at how far up they've been managed to push on the right-hand side there.
Quite a bit of ground already getting this plant down. Is Canny on the trench disengaging too? They just walked in and left. I mean, knock knock, is anybody home? No answer. I guess I'll just plant this bomb. Relatively low or no congestion. Now they have a great post plant spot here, right? They're going to be able to throw vile poisons onto the bomb. They're going to be able to just throw util on it as they get closer, but they're not necessarily holding super far forward. Squashy's on a deep flank along with the Natix and Exentra already taking this ground. All 4 of them in the same lane. Can they protect the diffuser? Maybe not enough. The Instant knocks one down. Bomb already 3/4 of the way through, and it's only the flanker, I believe, remaining on their side.
Yeah, they full in ran and then just took over the site. I mean, one of them's pushed all the way back. I mean, it's Welshmania taking down Story, but that's pretty much all she wrote for the bomb. That is quite unfortunate that they were able to just roll in like that and plant and then make their way out. That is not what you would expect to see at all.
You gotta get one of those doorbells that sends something to your phone. You got to know that they're coming,
exactly.
man. You can't not have anyone on site to stop them at that point. I'm sure that they used utility smartly on the back of site. I'm sure that it was in some way letting them get in to what seemed to us from the spectator perspective like an abandoned bomb site. But they were probably just doing a more defensive hold. It might be hard to hold forward into the comp that they're bringing out, and they just took good advantage of it. See if anything changes, if they are willing to brawl a little bit harder here in the second round, now that they are down 1. But a cash not going to be in their favor. Hopefully, for their sake, they have some primaries, or this could be a one by gun sort of round here. But early frags right away. They're contesting in a pretty good spot. Exentra's already in this heady, and there's 2 players right under him.
Yeah, it seems like right now things get tossed out. The glitch is going to be the person that shuts down everything the most, but the grenade is going to take down 1. That's going to put a stall to how they might be able to push forward, and they die from it too.
Did Gotti just give up? I'm not sure. That seemed very quick. Not sure who was able to finish that. That was fast. I'm surprised it ended up going that quick. Maybe someone shot him right after he went down, so he bled out super fast. Hard to tell, but disadvantage now for the attacking team. Hefty Cormorant knocked low, but actually getting the better of that duel. Squashy downed as well, and now even with a 3v4, they're ending up evening things out, but they don't know Welsh is still here. The MXR, the Dahlia in this little L-bend will make things advantaged further in their favor. But all they have to do is play on the bomb. They just have to watch for this Dahlia. Welsh is doing so much, and Story won't be able to pick up Candy. Not with the players that are flooding in here, but he gets the next down. He's getting flanked. He has full HP. He can just walk in and write Story. Writes the story, and the ending's pretty good.
That's crazy. That's not what I was expecting to happen at all. Like, not in the slightest. I mean, the fact that Dahlia was able to pick off so many, they get down, they get killed, and then you have to worry about, okay, well, this is a 1v3 situation while everyone's trying to push in and rotate around and make sure that they can be the ones that are more aggressive here. You now have a situation where now all of a sudden Glitch is getting the picks on the stragglers that are trying to push in with the Dahlia, and it ends up with him winning.
Somehow. And you can see how important they were in that round. 5 downs on the Glitch, 6 downs on the Dahlia, so clearly both of them coming in clutch for their team in that round, excuse me. B-site not going to be the point for swing the bomb at. You can tell the glitch now scanning from a highway. He will see everybody, won't see the fourth player more than likely, but a huge nade cooked perfectly here. No way to pick up that vibe from a distance, so if they walk in here, they could take advantage of that down because they just can't get it. On Exentra, the flash to come in, but a double nade from Welshmania continuing to come in clutch here, but there's so much pressure on them. Everyone that was here was down. They could just get these reses unless the Natix comes in at the perfect time, and it looks like he's exactly where he needs to be. Joker will fall. Gotti will bleed out next with the bombs going down, and now Gagoon not in the best of places unless these halos really ring true.
They have to play as slowly as possible before anything happens. He's obviously jumping to see if he can 3-peek around the corner to see if there's anything that he could possibly utilize here. Drones do go out, but they don't even hit. They don't even find their mark exactly, and that's already going to be hard enough. You got to push. You got to push through trench wire, and that's obviously going to put you in the dirt at the end of the day. That's another round already afforded to blue team. Hefty.
You hate to see it. That's a tough
you do
push there near the very end. I think the halos could have been good, but I heard an APS going off, so I'm assuming it gave Canny just enough time to rotate away from that spot he was holding behind that barricade where the halos were intended to go. Welshmania continuing to prove his effectiveness here. 8 downs compared to the 1 on the other 3 members of his team, so Welsh is very essential to how their team has been able to even make these rounds close. Everyone else is going to have to start finding ways to get in, but it looks like the decisiveness of how Cormorant have been choosing to go into some of these sites, how quickly they've been hitting them, where they know exactly how to put out their utility, all of it adding up has made it very difficult for Baboon Gang to really break through.
You know, tosses down under the trip mine once again. They have the APS, they have some other things available to them. But for right now, they're just killing. They're just making their way onto site time and time again. It's difficult. The minute that he pushes over, though, like it's just hard, man. Like they've been struggling to try and keep them off of these objectives.
And they're just getting flanked by blink and you miss it, Fawn. The round's over. The glitch comes around from the backside. I talk about these wide flanks, what the glitch can get away with. There you go. Glitch can stop wide flanks, and hey, he can do them himself. He's fast enough to make that sort of play happen all the way around. He has padded steps. He could have walked quite a bit of space around the back, and he's got enough cash where he could have been picking that up. He is the top fragger for his team currently. He has the most money. Could have just been waddling all the way over on that, sneaking past them, and it worked out for them. 4-0 unanswered so far here. Baboon Gang, again, just can't find a way to break through once they get that bomb down.
Yeah, they're definitely struggling with finding any sort of space to be able to control here. Once again, it's just one of them on B side. Obviously, they don't know that, but this is the same situation as before. They're just pushing right on in. One of them, I believe, is already on the site, and they're scanning to make sure things are there. They always have to rotate over every single time. And I think that's just not only a testament to Hefty, because look at this, the bomb's down already, and they even get a trade.
They do get a trade. It depends on if they can get picked up, though. And guess what? The player who is down, the one linked to the Dahlia, already back up. So that is an advantage to them, but they do get the res on the side of Baboon Gang as well, but now they have a timer ticking down already, a third of the way through, and Welsh, the hero so far for Baboons, is the first one to go down. This Trench is going to do what he can to get in. He has an APS to cover him, but there's going to be guns they have to worry about instead, and guess who's on the flank once again? Fawn, 2 downs for Story, maybe 3 if he pushes in off this flash, but they don't even need the help. It's just Squashy left standing. Story didn't even need to come back in. 5 straight for Cormorant.
Yeah, that's just clean. It's already 5-0, and they've been keeping the pressure on them the entire time. They've really just been pushing in time and time again. And every time they've tried to contest A, they've had a bit more trouble. Now, if I'm Baboon Gang, I'm absolutely stopping them from pushing B. I at least need 2 people on B, if anything, because they keep just running right on in, and one person can't contest all of those people. You have to have at least more than one. You know you're committing, but it just looks like Gagoon's the only one that's going over there by himself again.
And he is doing better on the holds now. He got a trade last time, even though they both did end up getting picked up after a long time here. But the trading out, there's just letting them walk in and get this plant. They're really so confident in their post plan, but I don't know if they should necessarily be. with how things have been looking, but APSs are going to be down. The plant likely to follow. Glitches here for the hack early. I like this timing as they drop these APSs and get the bomb out in the corner. If they can cover them, this is such a great spot. It's gone down here all the other times, and how are you going to get away with actually defusing that Joker with 2 downs already, and only 2 still left standing? Gotti is down too, so she can't even go for one of those reses. Exentra gets it close, but he's down now too, and it's only the trench left, and hoping and praying that no one will turn around, but it looks like they have an idea of where Squashy is sitting, and they are just going to hunt him down.
Yeah, one of them gets downed in the process, but obviously, like you mentioned before, now they know where he is. They're all going to swing around the corner and make sure they clean this one up. That is a 6-0 so far on Factory. My goodness, man. Keeping it quick, if anything.
Yeah, 6-0, very, very difficult to do and to come back from if you're on the other end. But again, we've seen Baboon Gang and the core of this team, at least in other situations, perform well in the past. But 1 down on the Kestrel. Tough when you really want to be at least getting some here with some form of utility. It's how you make the pick work. You get downs, you get money. That's the whole point of her kit, and not getting it versus the other side of it, right? I said, what's going to be the difference in comps? There's only 1 pick between them. Gagoon struggling, Story thriving on the glitch.
Right, yeah. Already 1 shot goes out. The second one as well. They're just trying to see if they can find shots here. This is the position they should have had in the first place. No way they come in through here again, though, right? There's 2 of them already up. I don't even know if they really have any position. It seems like it is. Like they aren't really being able to push up, but a beautiful nade, though. They managed to get 1 down. They might even be able to pick up the kill off of it. They don't even have time to play.
But they're not going to push for it. And maybe now, but the barbed wire, I'm sure there's theirs in the way, but they finally get a double peek now. Wow. They're really putting on pressure because of that nade from Welsh. But I don't know if they should have been waiting for something to get them moving in the first place, right? Now, huge pivot. They're already moving towards A. Will they kill the player on A? Squashy is dead and gone, and this plant's going to be coming out sooner rather than later. Story doesn't even get shot here either, so he has solid position on site. There's someone on the right side, and there might be someone lurking up highway if the members of Baboon Gang aren't careful.
Yeah, they are looking for an opportunity to try and push in. It is 3v2 right now, so they've got a chance. The Vibe Poison makes it harder, but they just even it up to a 2v2, and they even get another one.
No way.
It's now a 1v2. That situation was so favorable to them, and now they just end up getting forced out.
And it's just the Dahlia left. Trench passive and no gadgets, so no benefits for that buddy system pairing up here. Story's holding on the bomb. It's already 3/4 of the way through. What can Welsh do? Welsh has already been doing so much. You can't possibly ask him to do more, but he's doing plenty of damage until the katana right in the shoulder. Acupuncture comes free here, courtesy of Hefty Cormorant. They are 1 round away from already closing this one out. A dominant attacking half.
Yeah, 1 round in its entirety, too. I mean, they have been... The first half, if anything, they have been keeping it on lock. And look at this. They're running the glitch on the other side, too. We were talking about how pivotal that glitch can be.
And Edema.
You're stopping a lot of them on the push. And you're actually as well running the Dema, too.
Blue?
That might be great at locking down that might be great at locking down those lanes.
Blue, there's Edema. Blue, I know you can hear me. He's been very excited, waiting for Edema to show up at some point. So hopefully he's here watching and excited to see it, but it might be one of the shortest showings of a rogue that we've seen if dominance continues from Cormorant. It is a little bit more corner pressure. They have the Chalk as the bomb carrier. They have the glitch to scan the same way that the members of Cormorant were able to do. Will they be able to execute as well?
I'm not sure. Only time will be able to tell for this one. There's 3 of them already stacked up on A. I think they know, but this is different than what we saw them doing last time. They're the ones pushing around. They're the ones pushing around to the back. And they're trying to see if they can get a flank going. The gunshots are already coming through as well. They're getting a flank. I like the usage of this. This is not how it was played last time, and they even get it down, but they trade things off 1 for 1 on both teams.
And they're already all the way around, but is this wasting too much time? It's Story and Gotti. They have been performing fantastically, I think, so far in this round, but now they're stuck in a 2v3. They've been successful in similar rounds before, but Gotti doesn't get a point of damage on the players crossing, but they don't punish the downed Trench. They stared at him on the ground. They thought they weren't going to be able to pick him up, and now it's a 3v3. Could have just had 1 bullet on him and you'd have it, but at the very least, they have a bomb to play around, but this could have been a much better situation for them.
Still waiting for their opportunities here as they slowly push in. Beautiful bomb spot too as well. I mean, that just makes it easy for you, I would say. If you're playing on the other team, if you're the one that just planted the bomb, the attackers are sitting pretty with that bomb spot. They have to force them out though with the Ascend. That might be a good look. They managed to get one extremely low and get the other down. They get down two as well. That might just be it, Kresnik, and I think it is. That is the point.
Fire from Highway, and then it's just one person left, and Story had already downed the other two. Story, what a fantastic performance from him on that factory. I mean, you mentioned it when we were starting. It's not easy to 8-0 a team, and Cormorant were just able to do it. They have clearly, been even leveled up, I think, from their performance last week when they made it all the way through the bracket.
This would have to be the time where people have to start fighting back, you know. like this is the time where it's like, okay, they came in momentum 8-0, they made it quick, and now they have to find some sort of way to fight back, especially on King of the Hill. If Hefty Cormorant are ready, they'll be doing what we saw on Glacier just last set, right? We'll be seeing it more and more happen consistently, all because of the fact that if they're ready for where the spawns are, if they're ready to overall have that map control on favelas, then this might just be momentum they carry in to finish potentially out of the best of three.
And it will be our first look at Cormorant on King of the Hill because, of course, it was not played in week number 1. This is the first time we've integrated it fully. So love to see how they play it here on this map. I did get a little bit of a ticker update from Blue. Baboon Gang actually played Dima before, and they won a game with it, but that was on Strikeout. Maybe we see the same thing happen here on Favelas. Maybe the Dima respawn is what they're waiting for, and the bans are in too. So it looks like they will get to play it here. Chalk banned by Baboon Gang. Lancer banned by Hefty Cormorant. So Lancer ban, interesting. I think, oh, there it is. Lancer ban, interesting. I think on this map, I see the merit of it on demo sometimes, on Strikeout sometimes as well. But I haven't seen competitive King of the Hill played on Favelas. Lancer is going to have that potential to rotate, maybe unseen, maybe unheard to a hill and catch you unawares when you really start making that shift to it.
Yeah, and Favelas is definitely one of those maps as well where I could definitely see Dimas being picked here. I mean, there's a lot of places, a lot of angles it is that you have to check, but the ones that you need to make sure that you're holding, Dima does great at excelling and making sure that he can force a lot of those people out that might be holding those more passive angles, that might be holding around the corners, like I mentioned before. And like I just said, Favelas is a big map. So that's going to take a lot of map control, a lot more map control than something than what we saw on Favelas last set, you know. So it's going to be a tall task, but the team that has that control is obviously going to be the ones that win, because that's what we saw last time.
Yeah, whoever controls the crosses controls the world, I think, here on Favelas. For map number 2 of this quarterfinal matchup that we got to see. Already a comp locked in, so partially locked in, so we will be able to, I think, talk about that already. Seeker makes sense. It's a big map. You want Intel, Kestrel, Vi, corner pressure, all makes sense. Anvil, he's just strong. We're going to see an almost full mirror, but here's the difference once again. Kenny on the Fixer on one side, Welsh on the Seeker on the other. So who can make more of a difference? I mean, the Deadeye in the Fixer's hands is going to be insane, especially after it changes to the Sahara. I think Fixer in those really long sightlines, whether he pulls out the tier or the Deadeye, he is going to be lethal at those distances.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be a lot more dangerous for you to be able to try and fight, especially on a map like this. But once again, you've got the Fixer, you've got the Kestrel. That's a great look so far. I mean, that's a great look, like all ready to be able to see on that draft, not even taking into account, obviously, the Anvil and the Vi. The Anvil and Vi are must stays here, especially on a couple of these maps as well. I mean, like, this is one of those maps where Vi can really, really benefit and really make use over the objective, but making sure that she throws out those poison traps.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of map control gained by these rogues, but the other ones might be ones we are keeping a closer look on. You can already see this Fixer taking space outside. Here is Canny pressuring onto Welsh away, but losing that fight. And Gagoon Thought he got 2. One of them was himself, so surprise, surprise, unfortunate play by him. Welsh with a huge flying Gotti downs 1 in return. But early control from the members of Baboon Gang. Maybe a little better than we were expecting to see right away.
Yeah, and they even get 1 as well, right off of the spawn, right off of rip. And if Kestrel peeks over here, she'll be able to end up finding out somebody, and she lives with 16 HP still remaining. The stem is going to bring her back up to full.
Definitely we'll be able to heal Exentra.
Oh, wow.
Flip on that fight. All these picked some of these scavenged guns on the ground, helping them out there. Obviously not that one, but we see someone kill feed here. Welsh getting the better of it, and not a second on the clock so far for these players. An outrageous start here from Baboon Gang, especially after a similar shutout happened in the other way on the other mode on the previous map. But this hill will be swapping soon. Finally, a second for the members of Cormorant, but the hope of controlling it goes out the window right away.
Yeah, so far so good. To use the stem, obviously, to keep themselves back up alive. I think that they have to be able to try and maintain some sort of control. They swing around and manage to get him,
Wow.
but look. The objective here, they're able to finally control that, thanks to the anvil, thanks to the APS. I mean, it's great, and this is a good look for Hefty Cormorant to try and fight back, slowly regain some of that control that they've lost, because they definitely had a rough start, 51-25 already. I mean, yeah, this is the moment to make that comeback before that lead becomes too huge, and it'll be harder to work with.
Brutal here with that push on from Gotti, but he can't get the player behind the shield. Welsh finishes him off on that other angle. Anvil really coming in more clutch than I thought he would in general on King of the Hill. I thought maybe you would just have a fragger holding, but I guess it makes sense to have the shield in the way and buying you a little bit more space altogether. Take a wild guess and say that that's going to be the next hill, considering the amount of players from Cormorant that are swarming on the inside, but an explosion forces them out. Canny finds the angle, but Baboon Gang make it a 2v2 finally. Things swing more in favor of Cormorant. They have the hill now here potentially, and they are killing respawners as they're coming in, an abundance of riches for them.
Yeah, so far so good. This Gotti is going to be the one that plays around the truck here, even for a moment. They toss out the grenade as well and manage to get 1 thanks to the Kestrel. Okay, now this is more of looking like a Hefty Cormorant kind of game. Obviously, it's too soon to talk about whether it's their game or not, but they've been able to turn this around amazingly for them. 71-61, and even they swing. Wide swing story does on one of the opposing members of Baboon Gang.
Figuring it out here as they start evening things up. What started with a goose egg on one side has now evened out with an advantage towards the layers of that goose egg. But Welshmania, he's on a rotation trying to catch them. This is what I meant by catching people as they rotated being so important. Because of that, because of, I think, these kills they were able to get. Yeah. Actually, never mind. They don't even get that rotation. I thought maybe they'd have control over there, but absolutely not. They have swarmed what will be the next hill, and this is now an uphill climb for them. They sacrificed a couple ticks to do it, but they are losing members on the way in, and it's already evened up again.
Right, which means that I love the awareness, and I love the pressure it is that they're putting on by making sure they are obviously go to these next points. Like you said before, they were just giving it up, right? They lose a couple ticks, but like look at how much they've already gained, and even picking off a couple on the way in, finding that sort of power, finding that sort of positioning is hard to do. But they've managed to do it with the score being 110-88 right now. I mean, they're slowly flooding in on the side of Baboon Gang, but even still, it's hard. They lost their lead pretty consistently too.
Yeah, they lost the lead, but they have retaken the hill as of now. 25 seconds left. If they hold it this whole time, it is golden for them. They're not gonna have much more to worry about. And that pick on Canny will make it a little bit easier as this time is ticking up. They have to contest, and they've made it in to do it, but the kills are still going the way of Baboon Gang. They have the corner held, but they're still, again, if they keep contesting, they can deny these points. And honestly, I think at this point, especially with the flood of kills in favor of Cormorant, I think it is out of their reach at this point. 0 seconds remaining. The timer will count all the way down, and Cormorant have come back from what should have been a almost unsurmountable disadvantage.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was a wonderful play too. I mean, them stepping on the point did not to not just like be like, oh, our only goal is to make sure that we're capturing the objective. But the fact that they contested them for so long was part of the reason why Baboon Gang wasn't able to retake that, why they weren't able to regain that lead. The point differential wasn't much, but that contest made it too close. And because of that, they were just able to sweep that one under the rug. And Hefty Cormorant, they're the ones probably feeling a lot better about how that round went, to be able to make that sort of reverse sweep in terms of having an opportunity to go from no points to having everything.
Yeah, I think you would definitely be happy about that for their sake. myPstory with another down here. Look at this push, though, from Gagoon. Downing Canny. But they don't have control of the site. Gagoon's positioning has to be so key here. The C4 won't find anyone, and they still have it. Pushing in, though, Gotti behind the shield. The MLX plus Story with the crossfire. Such a great position to hold. They will likely hold this hill the whole time. But again, first hill. This one on this point in particular, being inside this warehouse, probably one of the easiest to hold, but it's the least amount of time, so the least valuable in the grand scheme of things.
Right. Yeah, so far so good right now for Hefty Cormorant. Good ensign as well to make sure that they lock off that doorway. And they've pretty much gotten every single bit of control over this point that they can. They have to head to the next hill as soon as possible, and that's when they start flooding out. And this is where I imagine the kills start flying left and right here, because of the fact they have to leave this point, they have to leave this spot. If they make it in time, they don't actually, and they have to be able to just hold it, try and lock it down even for a little bit, to see if they can really try and take it back here. But one of them lives and the other one goes down. They still sweep in and they still take control.
Only 7 ticks now given up because of that one defensive rotation. So not the end of the world. You can give up a few when you're going in, because you know that you're giving it up to retake it right away. 7 ticks to however many they've already claimed by remaining in control here, plus this positioning that they have. Gotti could have such a lethal push if he walks in right now. They have no idea. Gets one, holds back. They're not contesting, and he manages to find another through a crack, the tiniest little sightline he was able to play around, and their time just keeps ticking.
Yeah, so far so good right now. 83 to 7. Things are still being a little bit more cautious. A beautiful C4 as well to knock down 2 of them. This is looking clinical. I mean, Hefty Cormorant, they on the side of Baboon Gang, they have not been able to retake this control. They left the remaining 10 seconds to go and lock down the other objective.
So smart. I mean, moving over, I think, if you want to make that held, but you can already see the shift now, and they didn't even have it. They still holding it on Cormorant now. They're looking to come back in here. They're going to force him out with an incend, but no one's watching. When he gets forced out, no one was on that angle, and the player who was instantly gets down. That's 2 for Canny, holding this close spot, but it is evened out right away. Exentra, that Riptide, doing what he can. Might even get a 3rd. Not going to get it. There's no way he gets a 4th, I said, praying. Not praying, but shocked, and Exentra finishes himself off with those Halo drones here. But it's a constant back and forth here with Kestrels streaking from both sides. But the hill has always consistently been in favor of Cormorant.
Yeah, so far so good is what I would say. I mean, this is like this is probably the best case scenario that you could have with Hefty Cormorant, and none of them being able to even contest or sweep this one out from under the rug, from under the feet of Hefty Cormorant. They're even getting kills everywhere else too, and it's just hard to be able to fight. They've got 15 seconds remaining on the point. At this point, though, I don't even think Hefty Cormorant care. The point differential is too big. They're already on the next site.
Yeah, why not be, right? Sacrifice everything, all those ticks just to hold it. And you can tell, because look what the rest of them are doing. They're all getting ready to walk through, but one's already down. Canny with a great shot, swapping weapons in the middle, too, from the DMR to the Sahara with 2 more.
Wow,
what a monster he is. And that's keeping things locked down as every member of Baboon Gang sent crawling.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's about as much as I think they'd be able to do. One more point is gonna do it, and that's it. They take this one. Hefty Cormorant are gonna take this 2-0 against Baboon Gang here in the qualifiers.
Honestly, kind of sad it was over so fast. I liked saying Cormorant. It's a fun word. It's just a fun word to say. And now we won't be able to do it, but hopefully we will be able to, because they will be advancing further up in the bracket here, taking them down. Great performance by them. I thought that maybe things were looking brutal on that map. I thought Baboon Gang maybe were just gods of respawn. But Hefty Cormorant kind of proved us wrong with how they were able to adapt and change things as it was going on. So great performance, great recovery by them on that map, showing that they have that fortitude to come back from a round that maybe looks unwinnable will be crucial
Yeah.
in games to come moving forward down the line. I mean, biggest takeaways for you, for me, I think Glitch was looking a lot better than I was expecting him to. And I was
Right.
even calling him out ahead of time going into Factory, but he still looked, I think, fantastic.
Yeah, and I the takeaway it is that I might have for this game is just more and more of an opportunity for these. Factory was one of the most one of the most impressive games to me because of how easily they were able to just overtake site, and I think that is
Mm-hmm.
partially, or I should say greatly, due to the glitch as you were mentioning. I mean, it allows them to be able to lock down a lot of these sites. You see Story here 1v3ing, and I mean that's not only the power of his gun, but just the power it is that he brings to just the power it is that he brings to the entire draft.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. He was really,
Mm,
really strong here. And just specifically Story, I think, being the pilot of it, I'd consider him, at least for this map, my
mhm,
MVP of it, I think, bar none. Canny, I would say, for map number 2. But here, just the clutch potential that he had, the fact that he was, you can tell here, swapping weapons, winning duels, just everywhere he needed to be. And I think
mhm.
that is the most important thing, especially for a glitch player who is effectively just a radar sometimes scanning
Right.
the map. And he performed well here on King of the Hill as well. But I think Canny was the hero for their team.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, I think that just time and time again, I mean, we see on this map how things were looking pretty dire at first for Hefty Cormorant. And then as the game went on, you landed a beautiful C4 there too. And I'm so glad that we saw that on replay. I mean, that is really just the awareness and the positioning it is that you need overall
Mm-hmm.
to be able to stop this sort of situation from snowballing out of control, to be able to make sure that you can transition very well into the next few games, into the next few maps, and even into the next round where it is that
Mm-hmm.
Hefty Cormorant are going to be heading. I mean, they have won their game, so they're going to even proceed
Yeah.
more in further into the bracket.
Yeah, they are playing against, I'm refreshing my bracket right now, just to let you know, they're going to be playing against Definitely Not Ready. And we are maybe not ready to show you that yet. We're going to take a break. And on the other side, we will have your first semifinal match of the night.